right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. All right, welcome back to the FKF presidential debate, coming to you live and direct from the Catholic University of East Africa. As I had promised you, tukitoka huko nje, when we come back from the break, we go straight ahead into the debate. As the candidates are still trickling in, we are expecting 9. So far 6 are here and they are settling in, ready for the debate. But before I take you to the debate, let me bring back Dante here to tell me, because in the other set he was the host, but right now I want to make him a guest because I know he also has opinions about football, the football status in the country. So Dante, as we go into the debate, what is it that you are so eager to hear?
Shata, ama nitakwambia kwa kuna wengi ambao ningetarajia waje. Unazungumzia Doris Petra ambaye amekuwa pale hasa kwenye jukwaa, amekuwa pale kama kiongozi. Kwa nini amepa mjadala? Angekuja tueleze una agenda zipi za kupitisha. Kando nao pia Sam Nyamwea alikuwemo ama alikuwa rais wa shirikisho. Ni kipi ambacho angeleta? Sababu wananchi wanataka kusikia, delegates pia wanataka kusikia ni kipi ambacho unaleta. Lakini wale ambao hapo saizi ambao ni unaangalia Barrio Tieno ambaye alikuwa CEO zamani yuko ndani, kwa hivyo tutakuwa natupilia sikio tusikie Barrio na nini ambayo atakuwa analeta, ni kipi ambacho labda kilisababisha akaweza kujiondoa kwenye shirikisho la FKF, na kwa nini hakujiondoa miezi kadhaa, ama kwa nini hakujiondoa miaka kadhaa. Amejiondoa ikiwa imesalia wiki chache tuelekea kwenye uchaguzi ambao utakuwa unaandaliwa tarehe 7 mwezi Disemba. Kando nayo pia nimeweza kumuona Sammy Owino Kempes, mchezaji wa zamani, alikuwa kule ama makao yake alielekea kule USA ama Marekani, amerejea. Je, kwa nini unyorejee wakati wa uchaguzi? Kwa nini ukuwemo miaka 5 iliyopita? Alafu kando na sawa, Tom Alila yupo ndani. Alila pia tuweze kutueleza je, ana agenda zipi? Ni baadhi ya wale candidates ambao wametaniwa zaidi. Kwa nini Alila amejitokeza? Lakini kama nilivyokuwa nikizungumza naye kando kidogo, akaniambia yuko imara kujibu maswali. Cleopas Shimanyula ambaye ni rais wa Kakamega Homeboyz yupo ndani. Je, uongozi unamaanisha nini? Wapo atapewa ile fursa ya kuwa kiongozi wa shirikisho la FKF. Je, ni kipi ambacho atafanya kuhakikisha kuwa soka ya humu nchini inaimarika? Kumbuka vitu mingi vimezungumziwa, uwazi ambao tunasema wazi, tuweze kuona kila kitu ambacho kinafanyika. Kama ni fedha, hizi fedha zilitumika hivi, wazi. Ufisadi tuweze kuondoa kwenye soka yetu. Kumbuka wengi wanasema kuwa wachezaji wana njaa. Tumeweza kuona wachezaji pia wakichoka, wakisema kuwa mimi nimechoka na soka. Ninaye mchezaji mmoja ambaye ni rafiki yangu, sitamtaja jina, ambaye alisema alikuwa mchezaji wa zamani wa wa Sofapaka, akapiga kule Mathare, lakini saizi miaka 25 alisema akaniambia Danko, mimi ball nimechoka bana. Alafu wa mwisho Samo Chola, huyu ni Secretary General wa Gor Mahia, pia analipi. Lakini cha muhimu, agenda ambazo zitahakikisha kuwa mchezaji agenda ambazo zitahakikisha mchezaji atapanda matatu, unafunga hat-trick, mwisho wa siku unaenda nyumbani. Ni baadhi yale ambao mimi kama mwanahabari na pia mtazamaji akiwa nyumbani, ni baadhi yale mtazamaji anataka kujua. Hawa ambao wamejitokeza kwa wingi, wanamezea mate kiti cha urais. Wanasema candidates wa 9. Bana, wengi zaidi. Je, kipi special ambacho kipo hapo? Shata.
Sawa Dante. All right, pia mimi vile Dante amesema, I am very eager to see and to hear what these aspirants have in order to take the Kenyan game a step ahead from where it is right now. All right, now I want to take you over to Tony Kolanda. Debate ianze. Tulisema TV kitu unagusa remote kufanya ni kuongeza sauti. Hapo pengine inabaki TV47. All right. Twende kwenye Tony Kolanda.
Was actually coming to you live from just outside this wonderful auditorium here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa in Karen, where we are having the first ever Football Kenya Federation Presidential Debate 2024. My name, of course, is Tony Kolanda from TV47. Remember, this particular broadcast is also being streamed to you live on TV47 YouTube platforms. It is also on our TV47 channels, on all free-to-air channels. At this particular juncture, our 6 candidates are here. We invited all the 9 presidential candidates to be with us here. However, we have managed, 6 have honored our invitation at this very wonderful FKF presidential debate. At this juncture, we were able to do a ballot, and of course, we have numbers attached or tagged to our various candidates. And I'll take this honor and this time, of course, to welcome the first candidate, number 1, Tom Alila. Tom Alila is our first presidential aspirant of the Football Kenya Federation. Tom Alila, please take the stage. Please have your seat.
Yeah, and kutoka upande wangu, I represent Radio Jambo. My name is Michael Indeku, and of course, as Tony said, we welcome you to this historic, monumental, epic, first ever FKF presidential debate. And Santana Tony to introduce Mr. Tom Alila. I'll introduce candidate number 2 in this historic, first ever FKF debate. He's called Sam Ochola.
Thank you very much, Sam Ochola. Our candidate number 3 for this FKF presidential debate 2024 is Barry Otieno. Karibu sana Barry Otieno.
And as he takes his seat, I'll introduce candidate number 4, Sami Kempes Owino. Karibu sana, Mr. Sami Kempes Owino. Welcome, welcome.
And of course, as Sami Kempes Owino sits, of course, as a former Kenyan international. Karibu sana, Sami. Our candidate number 5, after a ballot, is none other than Cleophas Toto Shimanyula.
Yeah, and for the last but not least, the final candidate for this evening, who honored our invite, Mr. Chris Amimo. Karibu sana, Mr. Chris Amimo.
All our 6 candidates are seated squarely and ready, of course, for this 2024 FKF presidential debate. Of course, in partnership between TV 47 and Radio Jambo. Remember, this particular broadcast is being aired live to you on TV 47, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course on our free-to-air channels, and also on Radio Africa, X, Facebook, and YouTube. At this juncture, I'll request all of us to stand and have a 1 minute of silence for our departed Austin Oduor Origi, who most of you remember is our former Kenya international captain for Gor Mahia and Harambee Stars, who passed recently. Let's have a 1 minute silence in respect for our very legend, who, of course, remember in 1987 won the most important Africa Cup Winners' Cup. 1 minute silence. As well, Presidential Council, please have your seats. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation, all our 6 candidates. Remember, we had invited all the 9 presidential candidates. However, for various reasons, which known to them and maybe not known to us, the other presidential candidates, Doris Petra, Hussein Mohammed, and of course Sam Nyamweya, was supposed to be here, but they chose otherwise. However, we are happy that the 6 are here, and we are glad. Thank you very much for making time for this particular FKF presidential debate. Just to remind you, we are live on TV 47, on all our digital platforms, and also Radio Africa on all digital platforms?
Yeah, also on Radio Africa, Radio Jumbo, you'll find it live on social media, be it X, be it Facebook, and yeah, X and Facebook majorly.
Right, thank you very much. We'll get into it. Remember, we just have a few house rules for our candidates who are already briefed about how this will be, about how this particular event will be. Each candidate will be given about 2 minutes to share this particular information or aspects of questions that you'll be sharing with them in a bit. However, we'll quickly, of course, get into it to start off this particular FKF presidential debate 2024, the very first one in Kenyan history. After doing the ballot, definitely we will start, and it will be very simple. Each of our 6 candidates will briefly introduce themselves and, of course, outline their key vision for Kenyan football. We will start with our candidate number 1, Tom Alila, who will have 2 minutes to briefly tell us about himself and what vision he has for Kenyan football. You have 2 minutes, Tom Alila. The stage is yours and time is ticking. All right, we'll assist you with that. Please, the candidates, you can continuously press that middle button until it goes green. Once you press it, it goes green, then we shall get going just as we do it in a traffic. So we will rewind the watch and we'll start it. Tafadhali, our candidate number 1 for this particular event and debate, we start with Tom Alila. Please, the stage is yours.
I'm offering myself to run as FKF president. I was first elected in 2011 as a NEC member from Nyanza. And I'm running on principle to bring hygiene back to football, which has been lacking. I'm running on principle of women football. I'm running on principle again on infrastructure, development of grassroots football, and I've been a rigorous football administrator for all those periods, now spanning to a decade. I'm here to offer my services to clean what has been a mess in this federation so that we can elect the leaders, the delegates are going to elect somebody that can deliver, and somebody who is an administrator in football, and someone who can listen to all stakeholders that are involved in football, making sure that we change the curriculum, working with the secondary schools, primary schools, to set the agenda of improving grassroots football. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tom Alila. Next up, at least you have kept time, thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Sam Ochola. You can tell us briefly about yourself, your history, how you've been involved in football, and something about you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam Ochola. Currently, I'm the Secretary General of Gor Mahia Football Club. Many people know it as Kogalo. Always winning the league, and we'll continue winning the league for the next 3-4 years. But today, I'm here as a presidential candidate, and there's only one vision that I want to bring. I have only one vision, and that vision is to devolve Kenyan football. My dream is to make sure that all the 47 counties of Kenya have a federation office where the chairman of those branches will be able to manage football from that level. So we need to remove football from Kandanda House and make sure that grassroots football is taken very seriously. We want to support them. We want to make sure that these offices have money. We know that for the last 8 years, we have had chairmen, we have treasurers and secretaries, but if you ask them since when the last time they ever saw a cent from the federation as a treasurer, the treasurers will tell you they've never seen a cent in any of those counties. We need to change all that nonsense. So today I want to come in front of you people. I want to show you guys that I'm going to be the best candidate to stand, and with my background as the Secretary General of running the biggest football club in Kenya and East Africa, I believe, I have a lot of wealth of knowledge in management and in leadership. So I do hope that we'll have a constructive debate tonight. And I'd like to thank Radio Jambo, Radio Africa, and TV47 for giving us this opportunity to come and debate here today. And also thank all the present presidential candidates for making this occasion successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sam Ochola, Secretary General of Gor Mahia, for that. Next, of course, number 3, our candidate number 3 for this particular FKF 2024 presidential debate here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, live on TV47 and also on Radio Jambo and on social media, is Barry Otieno.
Thank you, Tony. First of all, I think I want to thank the organizers for this. It's a platform that will help all candidates who are here. I wish we could have been all 9 of us to share the vision for Kenya football. So basically, my name is Barry Otieno. I joined FKF in 2016 as a communications manager. 2017 was made head of communication and marketing. Then 2019, I was made CEO. But my journey with football didn't start at FKF. I was born in a small slum called Huruma, and I started playing football at the tender age of 7. Grew through the Mathare Youth Sports Association program, became a coach at some point, and I didn't have what most kids had when they were growing up. So the only thing I knew how to do best was to play football. I am lucky that my experience at the Federation has shown me challenges that branches face, clubs face, but we've also done well. So I'm running not for what I can become, but for what I can do. I believe that we need to empower FKF branches in the decision-making process of the Federation. I believe that clubs need to be more involved in the management and professionalization of our leagues. I believe that we need to capacity build beyond the pitch. Yes, during my time at FKF, we've trained coaches, we've trained referees, but we need to understand commercialization of football assets, marketing, communication, legal aspects of the game, so that we have a brand that attracts commercial partners. But also, more importantly, I believe in the development of grassroots and youth football, that there is a clear pathway for my kid who's 10 years, sitting in my sitting room. There's a clear pathway for him from becoming an amateur footballer all the way to becoming a professional footballer. So those are the 4 pillars that our team believe could change Kenyan football, and we're happy to be here to share them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Barry Otieno. Next up we have Sami Wino, and before we end, by the way, pia unaweza tumia Swahili ukitaka, any language you're comfortable in, so usifeel umejinyonga sana na kilugha moja. Sisi tukiwa Radio Jambo tunakuanga ulimwengu wa Swahili. You're free to use Swahili.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here, and just thank you for the opportunity to be able to discuss our vision for football and debate, matters of football. My name is Samuel Wino Kempes. I was born in an estate in Nairobi called Ziwani. I played for an estate club called Umeme. From there, I ended up playing for Olympic Youth Center, which was an academy established by the German government in collaboration with the Kenya government. And then from there, I ended up playing for Luo Union, Gor Mahia, and then the national team. And then I had the opportunity to go and for further studies in the US, where I did my engineering. And then I ended up reestablishing myself in the football area because, football is obviously my first love. And then I started in a very successful academy, and then years later, I'm here again. My vision for football is we want to bring Kenya back to being one of the top footballing nations in Africa. Second thing is we want good governance. We want to bring respect back to football. We want to eliminate corruption. We want to bring inclusivity. We also want to bring accountability and transparency. And in addition to that, it's important that we have structures in our football because we're lacking structures so that in every area of our football, we can have structure. So we want to have structures in the areas of youth football.
Thank you very much, Sami Kempes.
Thank you.
Your 2 minutes are up. Thank you for sharing your introduction for that matter. At this juncture, of course, I would like to take this opportunity now to give the chance to Cleophas Toto Shimanyula to briefly give us a vision for Kenya football as well as who he is.
Mabibi na mabwana, Radio Jambo pamoja na TV 47, tunashukuru nyinyi kwa kutuita hapa. Mimi kwa majina naitwa Cleophas Shimanyula. Mimi ni mfanyabiashara wa type mingi, nafanya biashara kadhaa. Mimi ndio chairman wa Kakamega Homeboys Football Club. Nilianza 2008 from Grassroots, na pia bado mimi ndio chairman, na mimi pia niko na kampuni zangu karibu 7 ambazo zote mimi ndio director, na niliamua kusimama hii kiti kwa sababu niliona vituko ambayo inafanyika. Nikasema mimi na ujuzi ambaye niko nayo nasaidia Wakenya katika hii mpira, kwa sababu nikiangalia hao wote wamekaa hapa, wapinzani wangu wote, hakuna mtu ako na timu ya mpira ambaye wanasema mzazi lazima ukuwe na mtoto ndio ujue uchungu ya mtoto. Na kitu kingine pia nimeona Harambee Stars tumekuwa na shida, selection ya Harambee Stars imekuwa biased. Sasa nikasema lazima mimi nikiwa president nihakikishe timu ya Kenya tunaiweka juu. Pia tukasema talanta ziko kule chini mashinani, so lazima pia tuhakikishe tumeunda katika constituency zote 290, tuhakikishe tumetengeneza timu kuanzia kule mashinani, sababu wachezaji wengi wako kwa hizi timu za huku juu, na hii watu wa Nairobi na huku pande zingine wametufinyilia sana watoto wetu waonekane.
Asante sana Mr. Cleophas Shimanyula. Last but not least, Mr. Chris Amimo, karibu sana. Tell us about yourself.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Good evening, audience. My name is Chris Amimo, and I hold a Bachelor of Commerce degree from the University of Nairobi. I am the founder of the Kindogo Football Academy, and since 2016, I have sat on the board of FKF.
We will just stop it for a minute. You can give him another microphone. Allow me to give you my mic. So Chris will start it again, please.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, now I can hear myself. So like I said, my name is Chris Amimo, and I hold a Bachelor of Commerce degree from the University of Nairobi. I'm the founder of the Kindogo Football Academy, and since 2016, I have sat on the board of FKF, overseeing its youth development activities. In 2009, I came up with the concept of Sakata Ball tournament. This is a grassroots football tournament that was later adopted by Safaricom. It is a precursor to the current day Chapadimba na Safaricom tournament. My candidature is based on 4 key pillars. 1, sustainability of the professional game, youth development, infrastructure development, and national teams performance. Now, all this will be achieved through proper governance of federation funds. I believe I'm the right candidate for this job, since my 8 years on the FKF board has exposed me to what it takes to run a federation in terms of governance, the pitfalls entailed therein, and also I've had the privilege to benchmark with successful federations world over. I have the knowledge, the passion, and the team to make this happen. Finally, mimi ni msee wa ball, na wasee wa ball wanajuana. Asante.
Thank you very much, Chris, of course, Amimo, for that. And all our 6 candidates have had an opportunity to introduce themselves and share with us the vision they have for the Kenyan football. Remember, if you're joining us, we are coming to you live from the Catholic University of Eastern Africa in Karen, where we are having the first ever 2024 Football Kenya Federation presidential debate, the one and only. If there's any other, Nibwakni. This is the place we are. Of course, I'm your moderator, Tony Kwalanda. And remember, our our presidential candidates, you will, for the next session, you will have a chance whenever a candidate, of course, explains and shares about the thematic strategies. You'll have a chance, of course, to respond to it if you want to respond to it for 1 minute. However, each of you will have to answer several questions, pertinent questions, which our audience here at this particular lovely auditorium, and also our thousands and millions of viewers across Kenya and across the world are watching, would like to know. Remember also, we shall be having a chance for you to send in your questions on our digital platforms, on TV47 and also on Radio Jambo, where you can send in your questions, because we have one Masawi Japani in the crowd. We'll be able to interact with our audience there a little bit later. But for now, I will get into it, starting with our candidate number 1. I will read this particular question. And remember also, on these particular sessions, later on, we shall be having our candidates asking questions to one another. It will be very interesting. Our first question, of course, the topic being football development and grassroots programs. I will start with our candidate number 1, Tom Alila. Tom Alila, please. If elected Football Kenya Federation President, what steps will you and your administration take to spur development of football in Kenya, and what programs will you introduce at the grassroots to ensure the safeguarding of the future of Kenyan football? You have 2 minutes, Tom Alila.
If elected, the first thing that I will embark on is to change the FKF constitution so that we can have more associations coming in. This is schools, primary schools, secondary schools. They need to be added into the FKF space, because this is the one. This is what will now make grassroots football work, because grassroots football starts at the golden age, and normally the students or the kids that we have, we normally just hang with them for about 120 days, and out of the 365 days, they are always in school and institution. This is where we now shape up the issues of coaching, shaping up referees, training. We also shape up this raw talent to be befitting the national leagues. So that is the first thing I will do. The second thing is to expand the football space for infrastructure. Like you've seen, we've not been having proper infrastructure, surfaces to play which are CAF or FIFA standardized. But I'm sure now the government has put its foot forward and they are sorting them out. We'll also have issues, broadcasting rights, marketing rights, which have been a problem in the federation. The leagues do not have even a title sponsor. They just have a broadcasting sponsor. So all this roll back to transparency and accountability in the federation, which is my key pillar in running a proper federation. We'll also expand the space of women football. It's really, really important. You can see our ladies now have just finished playing at Dominican Republic, and they have done us proud. Women football is really great, and it's for the first time they have gone to World Cup. So those are the issues that if grassroots systems are put in place, they'll be able to be feeding.
Thank you very much, Tom, for that. Asante for sharing what you'll be having and your plans in football development and grassroots programs. To our candidate number 2, Sam Ochola, I'll repeat the question again. You have 2 minutes to share this, condense it. If elected FKF president, what steps will you and your administration take to spur the development of football in Kenya, and what programs will you introduce at the grassroots to ensure the safeguarding of the future of Kenyan football?
Thank you very much, moderator. We have a lot of academies at the moment in different parts of the country. We have MOFA, we have Green Berets, Green Commando, sorry. And all over the country, when you go facilitate the county chairman with at least 3 million shillings so that they're able to use it at that level. But I want to commend the former CS of sports, Ababu Namwamba, with Talanta Hela. It's because of Talanta Hela that we got a lot of new and raw talent from the grassroots, and that's the same people who are now presenting the Kenyan women football, and the men under 20 who have just qualified for AFCON. If you look at these are programs that actually came from Talanta Hela and Ababu Namwamba's initiative. This was done in 1.5 years. So we have a federation that has been there like forever. And we know that they do not have time for grassroots football. And the first thing when I become president, I will make sure that these programs that the government had done in the with the previous minister, we shall talk to the present minister and make sure that the Talanta Hela programs continue and give us the best talent in Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sam Mochola, for that. We get to Mr. Barry Otieno. Barry Otieno, you are a former CEO and a General Secretary of Football Kenya Federation. You have risen through the ranks. You understand the runnings of football. You have heard, of course, what Sam Mochola has mentioned, that you are playing around with the management of football. You are here. You are running for this office. What is your take on this particular question?
Thank you. Thank you, John. I think.
All right.
Thank you.
My apologies, I was playing football. All right.
Sam has been generous. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Tony. As you say, I've been CEO of FKF for 5 years. And for you to impact football at a grassroots level, or for you to develop youth football, I don't think you need to change the constitution or talk to the minister. Let me give you an example. If you take 2 kids at age 9, and one trains for 10,000 hours, and another one trains for 2,000 hours, by the time they're 16, these are 2 different players, if they had the same potential. But even more interesting is that if you take 2 kids again, and they both train for 10,000 hours, at age 9 they have the same potential. One is trained by a good coach, the other one is trained by a bad coach. Then at 16, when they turn to competitive football, they are 2 different players. So basically the question to ask is, where are kids? Kids are in school. And what would we do? We would train more teachers. We would train more teachers so that kids from a very young age are trained well and they clock the required amount of hours. Secondly is you need to have a clear pathway. Training is not enough. You need to have a clear pathway of how these kids can go for trials or can be scouted before they are 16. Because Talanta Hela, which he mentions, is a U19 team. In football, when you are 18, you're considered a professional. So you need to have a platform where you can have these kids, train them, and have a clear pathway how they turn pro. But there is also the other side of it, and that's the side we want to develop. We need to empower the FKF branches so that they understand the vision of the national office, so that these kids, even though they are in school, the FKF branches can start leagues for them. And not only kids that are in government schools, there are also kids who are in formal schools. And these kids can be brought together over the weekend. They can play, be scouted, play for the national team, and then go to Europe. So that is our plan.
Thank you, Barry, for that, for exchanging that. Of course, we'll be getting back to you later. Sami Kempes, you've heard, of course, from your fellow presidential aspirants about what steps they'll make in terms when they get into leadership. What are your plans in 2 minutes? And of course, our candidates, you're encouraged to leave your microphone on so you can use it in case to get back to your fellow candidate and ask questions, not ask questions, but maybe comment on what they've mentioned. Kempes, you have 2 minutes.
Youth football is something that's dear to me. I've been involved in development of youth soccer for many, many years. And I also believe that if you go back to the grassroots football, I start with grassroots. I think grassroots football is critical to our development of our football overall. Right now, if you look at our sub-counties, they've been cut off football right now. They don't even vote in the national elections. So we've eliminated the largest part of our football by cutting out the sub-counties. The other thing is we need to make sure that everybody, wherever they are, in every part of the country, whether they are in West Pokot or Migori or Lamu, every player, every coach has an opportunity to be able to participate at the highest level if they have the ability. So that opportunity needs to be there only if we have the infrastructures available to us. And we also need to make sure that sub-counties participate in the selection process of players and coaches at the highest level. And then in terms of our academies, we need to make sure that we have leagues starting from the primary level all the way to the secondary levels. We all have tournaments, but there's nothing that connects the sub-branches all the way to the national level. So we need to work with the Ministry of Education to ensure that we have leagues that go all the way from the secondary to the national levels. Also, we need to make sure that we have coaches that are trained to train young players. Coaching young players is not the same as coaching adults. It requires a unique skill set, and we need to have the capacity for those coaches, so that when we start these academies with the schools, that we'll have enough coaches to be able to produce those players.
Thank you very much, Sami Kempes Owino. Now we get to Cleophas Toto Shimanyula, who is our candidate number 5, to share, since of course you've earlier introduced yourself and said you have all these companies, you've started Kakamega Homeboys from scratch until now. When you're given an entire country, what plans do you have?
Asante sana. Mimi kwangu ndasema nita make sure kwa 290 counties to make sure tumetafuta timu 10 kwa huko kwa grassroots. Kwa sub county tunapata timu 10. Ukipiga timu 10 tutakuwa na watu wengi watakuwa wamepata kazi. Tutakuta tukiweka timu 10 kwa sub county tutakuta tuko na 72,500 watoto watapata kazi, na to make sure hao watoto, nimejaribu njia yote naweza, kwa sababu mimi niko na network ya serikali, niko na network ya biashara, niko na network ya marafiki, tuhakikishe tumeanzia kule chini. Na pia tukiendelea kwa hivyo nita make sure pia mimi nimeenda kuongea na governors, tuseme governors wote, ni make sure zile viwanja tuhakikishe tumetengenezea watoto wetu viwanja. That's why nasema ukiwa mzazi lazima ukuwe na mtoto. Mimi hii ni kitu ninafanya na niko na experience kama goalkeeper wa saizi wa Harambee Stars under 20. We got him from grassroots kule chini, ambayo Wanzala unaona anashikia Harambee Stars. Umeona kama tuko na striker wote nimetoka kutoka kule chini. So nita make sure nimetafuta more sponsors wa kusaidia timu kutoka kule chini nikiwa elected. Pia ni make sure pesa ambayo inatoka FIFA na CAF tumeitumia vizuri sana, sio vile walikuwa naitumia na ionekane mali inaenda. Ni make sure kwamba hii pesa imefanya kazi, tuweke balls, na to make sure pia counties tuongee nazo instead of these tournaments, to make sure kwamba tumetengeneza mpangilio ya watoto kutoka kule chini, kwa sababu ukiangalia kama size federation iko imelenga kule grassroots. Na mimi nimesema nikiingia kwa ofisi mara ya kwanza ni kuhakikisha tumeanza na grassroots, because ukitaka kupata performance mzuri lazima utafute players kutoka kule mashinani. Wengi wanapotelea kwa majina kubwa. Ukiangalia for example Kakamega Homeboys, ukipata mchezaji yule ako na miaka mingi sana, huwezi pata 25, utapata 22, 19, 17, hata 16, because kama mimi nita make sure nimeenda kuongea na secondary schools zote tuhakikishe wamekuwa affiliated kwa FKF, tutafute scholarship wale watoto ambao watakuwa panda hiyo, tuhakikishe pia wanalipiwa school fees, wakuwe wako sawa, na pia to make sure kama inawezekana.
Asante sana Bwana Toto Shimanyula, naona uko na plans moto kabisa. Tutakupata na fursa uko mbele, tuna nafasi nyingi sana kuweza kujisema kuhusu mambo ambayo utakuwa unafanya FKF. Tukielekea kwa Chris Amimo. Chris Amimo, of course you've heard your fellow presidential aspirants and candidates about the steps they'll have to take in terms of developing football and the programs that they will engage in to introduce, of course, grassroots football. What are your plans? 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Kwalanda. I think my record in youth football speaks for itself, but I'll speak for it today anyway. Ligindogo was a pioneer academy in Kenya. It has produced a lot of talent over time. Players like John Guidetti, who went on to play for Manchester City, players like Ayub Timbe, Humphrey Mieno, players like Job Ngono, who is currently playing at Real Sociedad in Spain. Players like Kevin Wangaya, you also saw him do a fantastic job for the Kenya Under-20 in Tanzania just last week, among many others. The two biggest grassroots tournaments in Kenya, Sakata Ball and Chapadimba, were my brainchild. The FKF Youth Leagues and centers of excellence were set up during my watch at FKF. Now, if I become president, what will I do? The first thing I will do is set up a technical center. This will cater for all the talent of the best youth players in the country at one place. The next thing I will do, I will revive the under-13 leagues at sub-county level. This then will move on to the county, regional, and national football festivals. Now, these are the kind of places that we found players like Andreas Odhiambo. Again, I'm sure you saw Andreas Odhiambo do fantastic work for the Canada 20. He's now been called up to the national senior team. Next thing I will do is I will collaborate with the Ministry of Education. I will train teachers to become licensed coaches, but even before that, I will agree with them so that I can second FKF-trained coaches to schools to enable them improve the standards of play in schools. I will work closely with KSSA to make the school championship well prepared.
Thank you, Chris. 2 minutes are up. Asante sana. Our 6 candidates have shared their vision, the, of course, development programs they will have for Kenyan football, as well as what programs they'll introduce at the grassroots level. If you are joining us, this is live, coming to you courtesy of the partnership between TV47 and Radio Jambo. This is being streamed live on all our digital platforms, both for Radio Jambo and TV47. I'm your moderator, Tony Kwalanda, of course.
And I'm Michael Indeko. Yeah, so a quick question to every candidate, yeah? Now this is where we get to the gist of what you're saying. So you've talked about infrastructure. A lot of times we've experienced people coming to tell us infrastructure, they're going to do this and that. And some of you have gone a bit into what you're going to do. Now I want to know, this infrastructure, what exactly is it? So that people are satisfied that exactly what you're saying, or they can hold you accountable. Because when we say infrastructure, it's just an ambiguous word that we cannot hold you accountable. What exactly are you going to do? There are no stadiums, for example, even for our top league clubs, which is embarrassing. So in this infrastructure that we're talking about, how are we going to bring it about? Or what's your vision for the infrastructure? We can start with candidate number 1, Mr. Tom Adila. This one is a minute, by the way.
Hello? Yeah. I think most of my opponents here agree with me on the issue of grassroots football. It's key. And administration of football is different of like playing football. You know, being a manager, most of my opponents either run clubs and they are part and parcel of this chap Adimba is a private thing that is being run by Kinamimo. But as an administrator, you need to come out clean to be a regulator for football policies to be put in place. Infrastructure is not part of association. It's a mandate of the government. The association must work together with the government because government is the biggest sponsor, even in football activities. Infrastructure is in their mandate, but you must have proper rapport with the government to achieve this. Association management is being a regulator of FKF and making sure that those policies which are there and also intertwined with the Sports Act are in place. So the infrastructure issue is devoid of what we are talking about, is a mandate for the government. But FKF as a regulator must come in and tell them policies on how stadiums are supposed to be constructed to meet FIFA standards and CAF. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you've talked about rapport with the government. We can pass the microphone on to Mr. Sam Ochola. This infrastructure, what is your vision? A minute.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. When you talk about infrastructure, basically we mean the facilities where these young players are going to train and play football. Let me talk in Kiswahili kidogo because I know there are a lot of guys listening out there Waswahili wengi sana. So vile nataka kusema kuna mavijana youth kwa grassroots. Kama tuko na academies na wameanza kutrain mavijana kutoka 11 years and the ladies. Infrastructure tutapata kwa mashule, tutapata kwa colleges. Na so tunataka kufanya kazi na hizi mashule through the Ministry of Education na colleges kuweka hizi viwanja available. But the federation, as the president, we need to go round. Hatuwezi kukaa hapa Nairobi na tunafikiria tunaweza zungumza na mashule huko Kakamega ama Mombasa ama wapi. Tunatakana tuende huko tutafute hizi stadiums pali ziko sawa, na tutumie hizo facilities.
Safi sana.
Asante.
Tunavuka kwa Mr. Barry Otieno. Mr. Barry Otieno, you've been part of this FKF leadership, yeah? So someone would also ask on top of that, if you are not able to put this infrastructure, then what would be the difference now?
Thank you. So first of all is to say this. A good player on a bad pitch looks very bad. And an average player on a good pitch looks very good. Now, the FIFA Forward project money allows the federation to build a basic technical center. And I'm happy that during my period as FKF CEO, we managed to secure land in Machakos. I believe the construction of that technical center will kick off. However, in a country with 50 million people, and a majority of them being youth, that technical center is not enough. So the way to look at it is that schools have got existing infrastructure. The issue is to discuss with county governments and the national governments to make use of existing school space to develop football. There is no money at the federation that can build stadiums and build beaches all over the country, no. But government has got already existing infrastructure. The issue is how you tap into them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barry Otieno. We move on to Mr. Sami Kempes Owino. And Mr. Sami, there might be some who say, for example, you've been out of touch with Kenyan football for a while. So how will you come in and understand the needs that need to be in the infrastructure level? To that you say what, as you add on to the infrastructure question?
Yeah, I've been involved in football for many years. I've been visiting Kenya a lot. I've been learning about the country. So I'm not out of touch. I'll challenge anybody to debate me on any issues related to Kenya football. But when it comes to infrastructure, infrastructure is necessary in all areas of our football. We're lacking in infrastructure right now in all areas of our football. Infrastructure just basically allows you to have a consistent, outcome in anything you do. It's a systematic and consistent outcome. I'll give you an example. Right at the infrastructure in the area of youth football. If you have a player right now in the county of Nyeri that's playing for a good player that's playing for a school, let's say a school that is good enough to play for the national team, how is that player able to be seen in order to be called to the national team? We don't have anything in place that exposes that player and gives them an opportunity to be seen in the national team. And that applies to coaching as well. That's our problem.
All right. We move on to Mr. Cleophas Toto Shimanyula. Hii kushinda kusema we'll partner with serikali sometimes. We've seen it in the past and it doesn't bring fruition. So what is your vision when it comes to building those facilities for those children, building proper and adequate stadiums or facilities whereby it can improve infrastructure in our football?
Asante sana. Mimi nitakwambia, mimi na uzoefu wa hiyo shughuli na nina marafiki Kenya mzima. Hata rais wa Kenya nimekuwa naye rafiki kama ako mbunge. So nikichaguliwa mimi nitakuwa na uwezo kugonga hizo ofisi zote na governors wote. Na kitu kingine pia inategemea sura ya mtu ule anayeenda mahali kuomba kitu. Sababu ukiwa na sura ambayo unakaa kule kama uweze kuonekana ni ngumu sana hata kusaidika. Mimi pia nimesema na nimeongea kabla yao wote kwamba mimi najua uzito kwa sababu niko na team ambayo imerun from 2008 mpaka saa hizi iko katika Kenya Premier League. So I know how best I can do ndio niweze kuhakikisha watu wetu wanakaa. Siongei story because hao wetu hao tutauliza hivi utakuta wengine wanakaa kule Amerika, wengine wanakuwa kule ndani, kazi ngumu, hawelewi weather ya Kenya na kaaje. So with me nita make sure tumehakikisha, na nimesema from grassroots, kwa sababu unajua watu wengi wako hapa wanatafuta tu kura kusema president. Na kama wewe unafanya biashara kama Toto, even I can offer a part of my business money, nihakikisha nimejaribu kutengeneza zile vitongoji na niongee na shule na urafiki. Asante.
Asante sana. Umesema isipofaulu ni sura ya mtu. Ndio inazuia.
Yaani inategemea, ukipiga suti kama uingie mahali, watu wanaangalia mtu wa suti na kumbe wanaangalia huyu jamaa ameingia polepole chini ya maji na unapata usaidizi.
So, let's move to Mr. Chris Amimo. when we talk about infrastructure, instead of using an jina kubwa infrastructure, instead of using the big word infrastructure, now I want you to take us down into your mindset. Ni nini different utafanya ukiwa FKF president? Practical steps.
I think I agree with many of the panelists here that infrastructure is largely a government function, but also infrastructure can be private initiative. And I think then I would challenge them that they should put in place places that can be used for training before looking for government help. I'm happy my friend Sam Ochola is here. Sometimes Gor Mahia come to me to look for training facilities at my grounds at Ligindogo. I took the initiative to have somewhere where Gor Mahia can come and train. And I'm happy CEO...
I'd like to interject there.
In the crowd.
Yeah, we train at Safaricom Foundation. We have never come to Ligindogo. We are too big for that.
My point is this. I would challenge my fellow panelists that I know we can say, you can say I'll be president and I'll do this. But before you do that, show us what you've done. And I think that is very important what you say.
Thank you very much, Chris Amimba, for that. Candidate, of course, number 6 at this particular FKF presidential debate here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa in Karen. We are live, remember, we are live on TV 47 and Radio Jumbo across all social media platforms, that is Facebook, YouTube, and of course those other ones. And remember also on our free-to-air platforms. My name, of course, is Tony Kwalanda. We have our 6 candidates. Remember, wondering where the 3 other candidates are. That is Doris Petra, Hussein Mohammed, and Sam Nyamweya were invited to this particular debate, but for reasons best known to them. Our audience also will have a chance to ask questions to our presidential aspirants. Of course, we have amongst our audience, we have our very own Masawi Japan, who will be sticking and standing around to ask those questions a little bit later. And candidates also will have a chance to ask each other questions. Now we move on to our second bit of themes, and of course to hear the strategies that our candidates have for Kenyan football. I will be dropping certain quotes and certain notes that I got as I ask you these questions. We'll start with our candidate number 1. This we're getting into the league management and governance. I will read this. Tom Alila, just be ready because you're candidate number 1. Now, the management of the top flight league has left a lot to be desired over the last, of course, 4 years. Until last year, the league lacked a broadcast party. All of us know that. And the competition has had a long-term title sponsorship, rather has not had a long-term title sponsor in that bill. Also, the competition has been rocked with incidents of match fixing and poor officiating. I saw a game recently in Western Kenya, and I'm talking about match fixing. And of course, as well as clubs going for months without paying salaries of their staff and players. Tom Alila, what changes will you and your administration do to restore the lost glory of top flight football in Kenya? 2 minutes.
Yeah. I'm a strong proponent of leagues being independent. They need to run on their own. FKF is just a regulator. It should be setting the fixtures, but let the leagues run on their own. That if there are problems that the ones that you have talked about, it will be easier to pinpoint where they are coming from. Top tier leagues must run on their own because as far as we are concerned now, as we see, Kenyans are now not interested in watching the top tier league as it is. Because of, it lacks oomph, you know, there's no impetus in it. It is just the same people. So once they are given autonomy and they will be able to be running on their own, it will give better regulations, yeah? So that these standing committees which are there in FKF administratively, like judicial committees, disciplinary committees, standing committees, they must work. And these committees also can be replicated in management of the leagues to make them more viable. The other thing is sponsorship. We must have a proper sponsorship system that is transparent. Right now, even the sponsorships that we are having in the top tier league or these properties of FKF, that is, the top tier league is a Premier League, there's NSL, there's women, all these are properties of the federation. But they must have a proper title sponsor. They only have what we call broadcasting rights, which is not even put in public. Nobody knows the contract itself, what it entails. So those are the issues that, when elected, I'll be able to change, to be more transparent and accountable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tom Malila, for that. Let's get to our candidate number 2 for this particular debate. That is Sam Ochola on league management and governance. I will just briefly take you through that. I know you had that question. The management, of course, of this top flight league in the last 4 years has lacked a broadcast partner. You've seen that. We used to have a broadcast partner back in the day. You remember, of course, the days of SuperSport. Yeah. Now we have these days of Azam. And of course, you've had incidences of match fixing, poor officiating, and of course, players going without salaries, welfare. All these things have rocked our leagues, has rocked our Kenyan football. What changes will your administration have?
Thank you very much. I think Kalila has put quite a number of points across. I don't know if we're going to answer all 6 people, but mostly it's the same thing. First and foremost, we need to reintroduce KPL to run the league because we want them to manage the sponsorship monies that they're going to get from TV rights. Gor Mahia and FC, we've had a lot of tussle with the federation. Hello? With the federation, because we do not know what kind of contracts they sign on behalf of the clubs. To date, we just received money from the federation, but when we asked them for the contract, they've never shown us what that contract is all about. We received some money from KBC. We also don't understand how that money was being disseminated to the clubs, and it's something that the government and the Ministry of Sport really needs to tell us how much they gave to KPL. Moving forward, we have a very big issue with the referees not being paid on time. We had an incident one time when Gor Mahia was playing in Homa Bay, and we had the referees who came all the way from Nairobi, and when they reached there, we had to accommodate them in our place to give them food, water, and a place to rest before the game. We ended up drawing the game, I think, with Nzoia when we were playing Nzoia. So if we really wanted to fix the match on that day, we would have fixed that match. But we saw a big problem where referees are just sent all over the country without any proper allowances. And I hear sometimes the allowances delay very much. This all goes all the way to the Harambee Stars coach who always complains on TV. So match fixing is easy when the proper referees.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Sam Ochola, for that. Let's bring in Barry. Barry, you've had our question, of course, about league management and governance. You've been in it for 5 years plus. Of course, you're on the hot seat because literally you were in FKF before you resigned, and then of course it came to run for the presidency. You've heard what they have said, Barry. Referees, what Sam Ochola said, that referees were sleeping in accommodations that are not they're supposed to be. That's a very dangerous move. Of course, the audience will agree that if a referee sleeps at Sam Ochola's residence and Gor Mahia is playing, what will be the outcome of that match? Barry, on this as well, share also on the broadcast partners. Tell us, what happened between the SuperSport era, the Azam era, these officiating things, and of course match fixing, because you are right in the kitchen, Barry. 2 minutes.
Thank you, Tony. I believe I should have more than 2 minutes because it's a rebuttal and then now what I can do. Thank you for that. One is the way the laws of Kenya are constituted at the moment. A company cannot manage the top tier league because clubs are registered by the Registrar of Sports. And by virtue of that, clubs cannot own shares in a company. So what I don't want to say Sam is lying, I think he's inexperienced, is that In the past, the way KPL used to work is that individuals held shares on behalf of clubs. And there's a risk with that, because in sports there's something we call sporting merit. If, for example, Morangasil is relegated and the chair of Morangasil decides that he will not relinquish his shares to a team that has been promoted, there's an issue. The second thing is this. If these directors and shareholders of this company sit and say, the money we've received from Azam, we'll use it to build apartments, there's nothing you can do to them. Our vision is to engage clubs more, engage them and bring them at a place where the decision making is made with them, not for them. And we feel that there is also need to capacity build. So that, and capacity building is at two levels. At the club level, and Tony, I've been at the federation 5 years as CEO, and sometimes you receive an email from a club official and you wonder whether it's the same email that sends correspondence to commercial partners. Something like John Doe, loverboy@hotmail.com. If you're sending that to a Safaricom marketing manager, then it becomes an issue. Now, what will we do? I think that is the next question. Is we believe that clubs need to be involved in the decision making, including the structure of the league. We believe that we need to sit down with clubs and build a brand, discuss issues of match fixing, discuss issues of hooliganism, and how that is held. That would be the first step into ensuring that we have a product that attracts people. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Barry, for that. We have, of course, we are getting a lot of feedback coming on our online platforms. If you're joining us, this is, of course, you're watching the live FKF presidential debate live here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, CUEA, in Karen. My name, of course, is Tony Kwalanda, together with Michael Indeku from, of course, Radio Jambo. Going to our candidate, of course, number 4, Sammy Kempes Owino. You've heard, of course, what your fellow presidential aspirants have said about league management. And we've singled out these 4 years we had the best. And then, of course, then we're coming into an era where we are struggling with broadcast sponsors or partners. These issues about match fixing, poor officiating, salaries. What specifics do you have to tackle this?
Before I answer that question, I'd like to go back to the original point that you made about being out of the country for a long time. Tunaweza kukwambia Toto, unajua wale ambao wameongoza federation yetu miaka zilizopita ni watu wamekuwa tu hapa, si ndio? Wamefanya vipi? Okay, hata wewe utakuwa hivyo tu. The only thing I can say is this, the management of football is a problem here. We all agree, right? We need proper governance of football. I think there's no doubt about that. I'm not going to spend my time talking about that, but I think we all agree that we need a more exclusive federation. We need to make sure that there's respect in the federation and there's trust in the federation. That's all been lost. We need accountability. It's not there. And so we need all that in order to bring trust, because people won't give you money if they don't trust you. So we need to build trust in order for us to get money. But going back to the league, how do we build our league to where we get it to a point where people are interested? Right now, if you go to our leagues, it's not appealing. We need to change that. The way we change that is, number one, we want to make sure that the quality on the field is good. We need to increase the entertainment, raise the entertainment value on the field in terms of the play. Maybe we need to be able to bring things like halftime entertainment, pre-game entertainment. We need to market our leagues better in terms of the league itself. We need to be able to market players. We need to be able to promote our games to where people know when the games are going to be. I've had cases where somebody is calling me, an owner of a club is calling me, asking me where a game is going to be played 3 days before the game. That's a shame. And so we also need to improve security of the games, because I've gone to games where security is not good. So we need to make sure that security is good.
Thank you, Sammy Kempes Owino, for that. Let me bring in Toto. Toto, you heard, of course, from Sammy Kempes that you've been here all this time and you've been struggling, according to his words, that there has been no change, that you've been here. And of course, in light of that as well, in league management, you've been here long enough, of course, when you had issues that transition from super sport to all these other things and the current state of our Kenyan football. Specifics about strategies that you will put in place when you get into power.
Asante sana, ndio nimeomba wale wa delegates wote ambao wanatusikiza, I'm the best person kuchaguliwa kama president, because Kempes rafiki yangu huyu amekaa kule mngambo miaka 40, hata ukimuuliza na Baholo ni wapi ama muuliza Nambacha ni wapi, anajua what are you talking about, hawezi kuelewa chochote. So Kempes ni mtu amekuwa nje, ajui mambo ya Kenya. Sawa, mimi nimefurahi sana kwa hii maswali unauliza, ni maswali mazuri, na nili expect Barry kwa sababu amekuwa kwa federation huko angetueleza, kwa sababu referees hii match fixing inakuja kwa sababu referees for the last 3 years hawajailipa referees. That's why nasema naomba wale delegates wote, mtu yeyote amehusiana na mwendo au usijaribu kupatiwa hii kiti tena, because hapa tumekaa, we have 2 people. I have a memo here next to me, na niko na nani na Barry, kwa sababu ni nini atakuja kutuambia. Kwa hiyo ikiwa ikiendelea namna hiyo, kwa sababu mimi nasema hivi kwa sababu gani, sponsors wetu ambao wanakuja kutusaidia Kenya, utasikia federation inawauliza 70%. Surely if you ask a sponsor 70%, ile pesa utapatia timu itakuwa ni pesa gani? That's why nasema ni vizuri muelect mtu ameona pesa. Mimi nimefanya biashara, nina interact na bank, niko na mabiashara mingi. Mimi Kakamega Homeboys, wachezaji wangu wote nimeintroduce kwa bank, wakiwa na shida na jazio karatasi wanachukua loan, mshahara ikikuja inalipa. So Barry, ni vizuri ungetuelezea kwa sababu gani referees wajailipa, sababu hii match fixing. Hata juzi nimecheza na City Stars, nafikiri watu wameona kwenye runinga, walipewa penalty ile hata hakuna. Unaona, kwa sababu huwezi jua huyu mtu ule CEO wa City Stars alimpatia gunia 2 ya sukari. Unaona, so Kenya tuko na shida kubwa sana. That's why I'm telling you Kempers, I'm not like watu wote au hata mimi nimeandika. By the way, for information, nimeandika zaidi ya 1700 people, kampuni zangu zimeandika. Au ukiuliza hata kupata watu 5 10 ni kazi, hata watchman hawezi pata wako nao. So najiona kama mimi ndio ule natosha kuhakikisha nimeshikilia pesa ya Kenya, sababu sina tamani kwa na pesa zangu.
Asante sana Toto. I think Shimanyula, you'll have.
I think because this mentioned me, I have 1 minute rebuttal. Thank you so much. So one is, I hope you have somewhere to check the facts. It's not true that referees have not been paid for 3 years. I think if someone is saying that and he wants to run for office, it means 1, that he's not honest or he's out of touch. 2, the issue of match fixing.
Have they been paid?
They've been paid. They have been paid. In fact, you can fact check. There is what is owing after I left the federation. I left that to a memo to answer. But when I was leaving, referees were paid. Second is this. Match fixing is a global issue. It is not unique to Kenya. And during my period as FKF CEO, we put in place mechanisms to detect, prevent, and deal with. Again, you can check factually that there are people who've been suspended because of match fixing. And we are not running because we have companies. We are running because we have something to offer. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Barry.
Kidogo, ningependa tuwe watu straightforward.
Shimanyula, just a minute.
Kidogo, tungependa tuwe watu straightforward. It's better if you can call 1 referee. For the last 3 years they have not been paid. Na wao wakijaribu kuuliza hawa wananyang'anywa bendera. So jaribu kuwa mtu straight, kwa sababu Nix ndiye alikuwa mbaya zaidi, wewe afadhali.
All right. All right. Sam Ochola. So acha tuongee. Sam Ochola. You'll get to that.
I think I want to talk to Toto. Toto saa zingine hiyo 3 years hiyo ni uongo. Lakini kwa nafaka kabla hujasema hivyo. Another thing ujue sisi pia ni watu wa biashara. In 2012, 2013, 2014 nilisponsor Moroni Youth Club. Alafu kutoka 2017 mpaka 2016 to 2020 I sponsored Gor Mahia Youth personally. So hizo vitu umefanya pia tumefanya. Yeah, we understand the issues of sponsoring football. So usione kama sisi tunafanya kazi kwa maofisi na tunakula mshahara. Sisi pia tuko na wafanyakazi, tuko na mabiashara zetu yenye atubrag hapa mbele, lakini tunaweza ukitaka tuseme tutakwambia hapa sasa hivi. Yeah, tuko na mabiashara mingi sana tu kama wewe.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. Asante sana for the rebuttal. Of course, we were heading after Toto Shimanyula. I was getting to Chris Amimo. And of course, Chris Amimo, we've heard from your fellow candidates about how they're going to engage in management and governance. And of course, we've spoken about the issues pointed about the broadcast sponsor partner, how that transition, where we were now, where we are right now, about poor officiating, and of course salaries and of course and welfare of our players. Specifics about how in your administration you'll tackle this.
Okay, so Kwalanda, all these things you're talking about, they are caused by poverty. So what we need to do is to fix that poverty. One of the key pillars of my campaign is sustainability of the game. Our clubs have to be running concerns. Our clubs have to generate income. Now, I will say something here that may sound controversial, but it is true. The most important person in this scenario is not even the player. No, it is the fan. And why? When you create the correct environment, that fan will pay money to come and watch the game. That fan will buy club merchandise. That fan will buy food and drinks. This is direct money that will come to your club. But over and above that, when you fill those stadiums with people, the corporate world will come calling. Now you have money to pay your players well. If you pay your players well, there's not much fixing. Now you have money to purchase star power. People want to come and watch stars. People want to come and watch Adrian Kibet, Kevin Wangaya, entertaining footballers. That is what we need to do to our clubs to enable them to be generating income and forget all these other issues that are being mentioned. That is how we solve the problem.
Thank you very much, Chris, for that to the point. Our 6 candidates, of course, have tackled the league management issue. Remember, if you're joining us, this is live on TV 47. This is the very first 2024 Football Kenya Federation presidential debate right here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa in Karen. This is a partnership between TV 47 and Radio Jambo. I'm not alone. I'm with
Michael Ideku,
the man himself, of course, the one top presenter from Radio Jambo. And of course, just for our candidates, a few just in-house rules. Please, if you make a statement, please be sure to have facts, proof, so that we don't get into an exchange of please toa kaltas. Unatuambia, unatupatia hivyo. Of course, remember, later on we shall be having an engagement platform for our audience, and also both physical here who are here, as well as those who are on our online platforms, because this particular debate is being televised live to you. We have been live TV 47 from 4:30 p.m. all the way till now, bringing you this very first inaugural FKF presidential debate.
Yeah, so we move on to the third question. Na hapa tunaingia story ya pesa. Now, I want us to be real, I want us to be honest, and I would like to hear practical steps. FKF has been, or has had a reputation whereby corruption, of course those are allegations, yeah? Some of them are allegations, but there's no clear, transparent communication or direction of how money is being used. Na hiyo ni shida kubwa sana in our football, because vile mesema wenyewe, bila chapa, bila pesa, we cannot have football. We can't build this infrastructure. But the problem with our country and the problem with us is there's too much things being done behind closed doors, no transparency. Pesa ngapi inatoka FIFA? How many people know? We don't know. I want to know, how will you solve that situation? Ukiingia ofisi, knowing the reputation it has. In fact, it's hard for sponsors to come on board because pesa inakulwa, ama pesa is not being used in the right appropriate manner. X amount of money imetoka hapa, but how it's been used, tunajiuliza, is that the full amount imetumika? So I want to start with candidate number 1, Mr. Tom Alila. Financial management, transparency. This is the thing that is killing us, not just in football, of course, Pia, in other sectors. But how do we tackle this issue of financial management and corruption?
I said in one of my running principles is to have hygiene in running of FKF as a federation. FKF must be transparent because most of their issues are shrouded in secrecy. Even though FIFA gives money, have been in FKF before, but there have to be proper accounting principles. Even though it's not disclosed, But FIFA as an association, the bigger body that holds these federations, they normally ask for audited account, and I think Barry here will be able to confirm that. Even though it's not put publicly, only the members of the association get to know what is going on. But the transparency issues is a big problem. Even this national coach, nobody knows what contract, how much is being paid, he keeps on complaining that he's not being paid, and Barry should be here to answer that. It's been a problem. And when you find also a national coach involving himself in selling and buying of players, it's really not nice. An example here is one of the players of Gor Mahia. I think it's called, the player is called your striker. It's called Omala. For the first time, Omala is now training with another North-Script club in Manyata, because his transfer was not finalized. So I think Barry should be here to answer that. And I think Ochola here can also concur about that. Transparency is key in running federation. As I said before, federation is a regulator. It should not be in these businesses. It should keep principles which FIFA and CAF have set to run the institution. That's all I can say.
Of course, Michael, I understand you are streaming this particular broadcast on your channels. They want to hear your voice. Ukiwa CUEA.
Oh,
Wambie, of course, which channels, on which platforms?
You can check out Radio Jambo pale X, Instagram, Facebook na vile vile pia, Facebook, Instagram and X. You'll check us there and you'll find that all the feeds ziko pale na unaweza pata all the content pale. So we move on to Mr. Sam Ochola. How do we make FKF trustworthy?
That's very easy. We just have to get proper auditing firms to audit all the monies that are coming into FKF. Yeah, that we need to do, and we need to have every 6 months report. That happens to every corporate company in Kenya. Hata ukiangalia accounts za Kenya wana audit accounts na vile government inatumia pesa, na tunaambiwa pali pesa imekuliwa na pali pesa inatumiwa vizuri. Hii federation hatujui nini inafanyika, hatujui pesa zenye zimetoka FIFA, zimetoka CAF, zile pesa wamepewa na Ministry of Sports, hatujui. Na unaona juzi both the president na wa CEO walikuwa na bebwa hapa na masubaru kwa sababu ya hizo pesa. So we have a very big issue. I think those problems are not gone. There's no need of fighting so much in court with all the top lawyers when you know very well that you're misusing Kenya football money. We need transparency. It is very serious. Na vile Toto amesema, it is time hawa watu wenye wamefanya FKF kutoka CEO, kuna mimo hapo wamekaa, hawa ni watu tunataka na tupige teke kabisa na tukue na a new regime under Sam Ochola, whereby these things will just be put there. Hizi accounts ni vitu rahisi sana kujua, lakini kusema kweli, this is the only organization in Kenya that we do not know how they handle their accounts. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sam Ochola. Yes, Tony.
No, I was just before you go to Barry, I was just reading the constitution of the Football Kenya Federation about how they normally do their auditing, and also how they publicly, allegedly publicly, put their accounts out. So, of course, as Indeku, you engage the former General Secretary of FKF. I'm sure he has had me.
Yeah, Mr. Barry, leo uko under fire sana, but ni kawaida, itabidi tu uzoee. Sasa, Mr. Barry will give you an extra 30 seconds also to rebut because everyone is now putting pressure on you. You've been there before. You've been part of this organization we're talking about, or leadership, whereby money is not being used properly. Or we feel, that's the general feeling in the public. Lakini vile Sam anasema, there's some people we see they're riding in really nice cars. What different thing will you do if you're elected president? And why should we trust you this time around?
Thank you. I think the rebuttal is 1 minute, not 30 seconds. So I'll start with that. One is that out of the 6 seated here, I think only me and Amimo have attended the FKF Congress in the last 8 years. I might be wrong, but you can check. Now, as provided for by the FKF statutes, all budgets and all audited accounts of FKF are sent to members 30 days before Congress to interrogate, to look at, and ask questions. If you don't do that, then sorry, Sam, it's not my fault because it was shared. Secondly is this: we need to build capacity of our people so that when you send such a communication out, they can interact with the figures. Sometimes the challenge is some doesn't understand some things. And if you don't understand, then it becomes an issue. Now, let us not deal with allegations, because allegations are allegations. There are allegations that say Toto doesn't wear shoes because he belongs to a certain cult. I don't believe that. Toto is my good friend. I know why he doesn't like shoes. Likewise, the allegations that will touch on us. I want to say this. We were disbanded. We were disbanded, and the FKF president was taken to court a record 3 times. And on all counts, 3 Kenyan courts said, not only were the charges malicious, but they were also an abuse of the court process. Apart from that, and this can also be checked factually, is that our audited accounts are on the website. If you Google now the FKF website, you'll find the audited accounts. You can interrogate them. And Chris Amimo is the chair of the FKF Finance Committee. He normally presents. The issue is Sam Ochola is not nominated by his club to come for Congress. They represent someone else. He doesn't know. Maybe he's not briefed. Alila doesn't come to Congress. Toto is busy with the 7 companies and 1,200 employees. So he doesn't care about FKF. And I believe if you're such busy, then you shouldn't do that. Kempes manages his association, is things sometimes in and out of the country. So he doesn't have a consistent following. Now, what do we need to do? I want to say what our vision is. First, I believe that we need to build capacity for our people so that they can understand the commercialization of football assets. They can understand that, yes, you can market a product, but if I come to the field and I don't get the necessary or a good experience, I will not come back. And that's why we feel the issue of sponsorship is not about shouting that we have something. Companies are not charity organizations. Companies partner with you because there is value. Value will only be created if Gor Mahia understands that it's a brand and it needs to handle itself as a brand so that it can attract commercial partners and more funds. Thank you so much.
All right. We move to Mr. Sami Kempes. Sami, you have experience dealing with an academy, and you are aware of the situation with FKF and the reputation. What different thing will you do to increase transparency and improve the reputation of FKF and make us trust FKF?
You know, the thing I'll say, we talk about things that really don't help our football. You know, Toto is talking about knowing a place somewhere, and Barry's talking about being in a meeting. In reality, those things don't really matter. If I'm wearing blue suit and Barry says it's red, I can't change Barry's mind. Barry's the only person who thinks the federation was run properly. How he does that, I have no idea, you know? But somehow he does. But coming back to, you know, our football, you can't tackle one aspect of our football and not everything. Everything has to work together. We have different aspects of our football. We have governance. Okay? We have building of infrastructure. We have, you know, machinani. We have all those things. And if you don't have a plan that tackles all those things, you're going to have a problem. You can't fix one aspect of our football and not leave the other one. One thing's going to get messed up. And so we have to deal with the issues of governance and make sure that we govern correctly. Accountability is a big part of that. Transparency is a big part of that. We also have to make sure that we have infrastructures in place. And we also have to make sure that our football starts from the grassroots. If we don't do that, we're going to have problems. We can't fix one and leave the other. And so for me, you know, the infrastructures will fix a lot of our problems in terms of making sure there's a connection between the grassroots and the national level. And in terms of the way I do things, I always say that your history is the best predictor of what you're going to do in the future. I have a history in terms of how I run things. Barry has a history of how he runs things. Toto has a history of how he's run things. Look at our history, and that tells you how we're going to do in the future.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cleophas Chimanula, the floor is yours.
Asante sana. Mimi nitasema kwamba that's why nimesema mimi the best person to be the president of FKF, because ukiangalia hii pesa Bari anasema totoa viatu anavaaga vizuri sana for information, lakini sivai sababu sifanyi kazi ofisi, huwa nakuwa kwa mambo ya kidogo, na kwa gari unajua mara mingi unavaa hata open shoe sababu una pressure. So kitu nasema ni kwamba mimi nasema hivi, I've handled more than 4 billion, 5 billion. So pesa account unajua ni karibu ile nakuja kwenye mlikuja mtaki kuelezea watu ni 1.4 billion. Na wakati marehemu Hatimi alikuwa katika hiyo ndiye alijenga ile ofisi mko nayo hapo Kandanda House, na mko na shamba pale zaidi ya ekari 80. Pia ni vizuri pia ungeelezea watu ile pesa ilikuja ni nini mmefanya tangu mkue. So kwangu ndasema kwamba acha niende nimalize pande yangu ni kwamba mimi kwangu itakuwa ni transparency, because I've handled big money. Najua style ya kuweka auditors na kuweka wale accountant ambao wako sawa, na tuna make sure tunaangalia report every 2 months. Waacha mambo ya 6 months. 6 months kutatokea na mambo mingi. Na mimi pia nimesema wale corrupt ambao watakuwa kama wako pale, vile naona hii serikali imekuwa corruption, wote watatoroka mbio, kwa sababu lazima nihakikishe tumeangalia step by step. So kwa upande yangu sina wasiwasi kwa upande hesabu, na si ati na brag hata unasema companies, hata nikiwa na company iko nazo, sababu that's why if you don't know about mambo ya accounts uweze kurani kitu, lazima ujue, na tena tuwe transparency. Teams zikikuja wakuwa najua pesa fulani imekuja, hii imeenda kwa ladies, hii imeenda kwa men, hii imeenda kujenga kama ni kiwanja. So pesa zinakuja mingi, kwa sababu pale kwa federation ya saa hii Bari anasema wanatumianga watu report. Sijui kama Gor Mahia anapataga report, because sisi hatujaona report. Anasema na peananga finance, sidhani asijui anatuma kwa account gani, maybe sisi hatujaona, ama labda email yetu haifanyi kazi, yeah. Hata FC wako hapa tunaweza uliza kama wamepata, because whatever naongea yote ni uongo, na angejitetea akisema kwamba sio yeye hakuwa na uwezo. Sasa akipatiwa presidency atakuwa na nguvu ya kupanga, kwa sababu yeye anajaribu kutetea kitu ambaye hawezi kujibu. Because if I ask you Barry, ile 1.4 billion inakuja kwa hapo kwa 1.4 billion, bilioni 1,400 kutoka kwa FIFA ama CAF. Utuambie imetumika namna gani? Kama ile sponsor tulipata ya KBC, hatujaijua hiyo pesa inakuja ngapi. So ukituambia hapa kila mtu anapata report, I think waacha kudanganya. Wasema tungetaka ujitetee useme kwamba mimi sio ule alikuwa president, waacha mimi nikichukua nitapanga vitu. Asante.
Tony, I think first of all, and we are live. We need to check the facts. When someone says you're corrupt, he needs to collaborate with them. I have never been accused of corruption. I have never been arraigned in court because of corruption. The second thing is this, Tony. We have someone who wants to be president and doesn't understand figures. FIFA doesn't send 1.4 billion anywhere. The amount that FIFA sends to federation is public. A quick desktop Google will show you what FIFA sends. So
why don't you tell us?
It's 1.65. It's simple. 1.65 million.
Million.
Yeah.
Dollars or
dollars.
Dollars.
Yeah. So it's not 1.4 billion. Yeah. Secondly, thirdly, and what I want to say is this: by regulation, and Kakamega Homeboys were represented in the last SGM, financial documents regarding budgets and upcoming activities are sent to members. Chris Amimo, who is seated at my far left, presented the financial statement for the federation, and there was an auditor. It was live. You do a quick Google, you'll see an auditor presenting FKF. In fact, members, and I'm told AFC are here, maybe they can comment, or Tusker, members were given those books to go with. Right. So let's as I finish, Tony, let us verify facts.
Let me just, you know, you talked very loosely about me not understanding the finances. We've asked him, you know, we can't keep on Googling. These are whole federation. Why should we keep on Googling these things? He's talking about members. I'm wondering how Gor Mahia, we are there, I'm the ASG. So if all these 4 years I've never seen any of these things, it's amazing. But most of all, nataka kuuliza Barry, kuna wakati alikuwa amejificha siku hiyo.
You will have a chance to ask questions.
I'm just saying, we are talking about transparency of monies. When the police were looking for them NSIS from Kiambu Road, kwani walikuwa wanamtafuta na assault ama rape ama nini? Si ilikuwa pesa? It was just about money. And that's why there was a transition committee that came in. It was not about anything else apart from how they misused government money, how they were kicked out of office, and up to today, they've been fighting in court. It is still there. So this corruption issue at the federation is still alive and kicking. I'm sure there are other cases that are not even closed.
Thank you, Sam.
Tony.
Thank you for that.
Tony, again, I'll just take 30 seconds. Please let us verify facts. We do not have any active case in court touching to us being corrupt. All the cases that were there, 3 of them were dropped. And not only, these are public records. Not only did the court say that this was an abuse of the court process, they also said that it was malicious. So as we throw words out, let us please verify facts, because I don't want to also start throwing allegations without being factual.
All right, in Teku there was a candidate. Thank you very much, Barry. There was, of course, a candidate we had, before we forget, and give them a chance to share their vision, and of course.
Chris, your name has been mentioned a number of times also. You'll get a chance to speak on that. And number two, with the reputation that FKF has had in the eyes of the public, ni nini utafanya to improve and be transparent so that tunajua pesa inatumika hivi na hivi, and we can see by results on the ground?
Okay, thank you for that. So there's something called an AGM, an annual general meeting. Now, before that takes place, there's something called, we send a convocation. Now, when you send the convocation, there are financial statements attached. When you send the convocation, there are financials attached to that convocation. They are sent to every member that attends the AGM. It is up to that member to peruse those financials, and during the AGM, raise any issue that may be arising. Now, we can allege, it's easy to allege, it's very easy to allege, and I think it's important that we do some fact-checking to all these allegations, because I can also say, I can also say. But to more positive things, I think we should speak specifics. What I intend to do when I'm in the federation, my financial model will be based on 3 aspects. 1 will be sponsorship and partnerships. 2 will be FIFA Forward, and 3 is the Kenya government. Those will be my sources of financing. Now, in 2022, the Sports Cabinet Secretary approved rebates to companies that were sponsoring sports. Okay. Then in 2024 finance bill, the same proposal was there. That finance bill that Gen Z refused, that proposal was there. Using these as incentives, I will go to companies, to corporates, both local and global, to ask them to put their money into our leagues and into the federation. Now, FIFA, and I saw a gentleman waving his phone frantically over there. Maybe you should allow him to bring whatever he was Googling, and I could explain to him.
Time, Chris, yeah? And I want to ask this again, because what you've told us is what you'll do to increase finances in the league, yeah? And to increase revenue. The question is, the allegations of corruption. And in the eyes of the public, if you ask everyone here, there's a sort of wavering attitude in how they feel about FKF. That they feel that maybe funds are not being utilized. Some of them might be allegations true, yeah? But a lot of people feel that, funds are not being used well and they're not being used completely. Corruption is there. How will you tackle that?
Give me one specific allegation, then I can answer it. Give me one specific one.
There's many allegations, Chris.
No, give me a specific. You've said the allegations. Give me I cannot answer generally. Give me a specific allegation, then I will answer it. How can I answer general allegations? Give me a specific allegation.
Let me bring into this. There was an 18-page. There was an 18-page letter written to the FKF by the sports registrar.
Yes.
To Football Kenya Federation.
Yes.
And there were things and pointers that FKF had been asked to deal with.
Okay.
I will go through some of them. Just one of them is this. There were some forms which were picked for 47 county football associations. FKF never distributed the picked forms. I'm reading a letter that was written to FKF by the sports registrar. Items that were supposed to be addressed which were ignored. This is just one amongst, and remember it's an 18-page. FKF, maybe I can say, FKF in that letter from the sports registrar to FKF said FKF operated illegally from 2nd September 2016 to 2018. I'm just reading some of the point items that the registrar sent to your side. Let me also say this. I'm sure Barry Otieno will also rebut to that. Barry, this of course was an allegation. You were the general secretary. You had all the access to all the lists, the names, clubs, delegates, and everything for 5 years. Then boom, in the middle of this year, you resign. Then you tell us you're going for other commitments. Then boom, you are back. These candidates here will feel like you did your 1, 2, 3, and I'm saying it's an allegation. You did your 1, 2, 3 on those particular lists, clubs, and everything, got out, came back, and then you are here vying for that. Doesn't that look like conflict of interest? Seated here after preparing you. I'm saying that. It's very important to bring this out because it is in the, I'm not reading anything else. It is what was written in the 18-page letter from the sports registrar to the Football Kenya Federation. Amimo, you might want to respond to that.
So Kwalanda, you have moved positions. What he was asking me was about financial corruption, not about county associations and sports registrar. He told me there are allegations of corruption. I asked him, name one that can answer it. That's what I asked him. Now, you are talking about CFAs and operating illegally. That's a totally different issue. But I will answer you anyway. First of all, we are FKF. We are a totally different body from CFAs. So if you ask me about CFAs, I can't answer you about that. I'm not a member of CFA. Secondly, if we have been operating illegally, there are laws in Kenya. What they need to do is apply those laws and mete out punishment to us for operating illegally. So rather than writing letters, maybe what you should do is invoke the law that we have broken by operating illegally and punish us. That's what I would answer to the letter.
All right, thank you very much. Tony. If you're joining us, this is the 2024 Football Kenya Federation Presidential Debate right here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa, CUEA in Karen. Of course, my name is Tony Kwalanda, one of the moderators together with
Michael Indeku.
Remember, this particular live broadcast is coming to you, of course, on all our social media platforms, TV47 Digital, our YouTube platform, and Facebook, also on
Radio Jambo online everywhere, Facebook, X, also Instagram.
I understand, of course, due to our time constraints, we have our very own co-moderator, Masawi Japani. We should be getting into our question and answer session, of course, from the audience. Masawi Japani, kama unanipokea hapa hivi, ni wakati wa wale watazamaji wetu ama wale ambao wameweza kuhudhuria mkutano huu ama mjadala huu hapa katika chuo kikuu cha Katoliki. Masawe Japani, kama kuna maswali mawili matatu kuelekeza kwenye kwa wagombeaji wetu wa urais katika uchaguzi wa FKF. Masawe Japani, tuambie.
Habari zenu. Kwa kweli tumeweka historia siku ya leo. Mimi naitwa Masawe Japani, mtangazaji wa Radio Jambo. Tumeweka historia, imekuwa ni mahojiano ya kwanza ya shirikisho la soka FKF. Tunasema pongezi sana kwa kuweza kufika siku ya leo wagombeaji Toma Lila, Samo Chola, Barry Otieno, Sami Owino Kempes, Toto Shimanyula na Chris Amimo. Kwa hivyo kipindi hiki nitawapatia nafasi ili muweze kuuliza maswali moja kwa moja. Hakuna wanawake? Hakuna? Safi, sema jina lako alafu uliza maswali moja kwa moja.
Shukran sana. Kwa majina naitwa Bashir Hussein. Mimi ni sporting director Kibra United Sports Club. Na maswali mawili kwa candidates wetu hapa. Ya kwanza, what are the mitigations that they are going to put in place to make sure the independence of the standing committees zile zina operate kwa federation? I'll give two cases. Number one, we've seen a chairperson from a branch requesting the electoral board to bar other candidates, and her wishes were done. I don't know from the candidates that are seated there, tutakuwa na independence ama tutakuwa na kanyagwa tu hivi. Number two, from the team that are managing, based still on the standing committees, I don't know how things are being operated. Maybe I'll direct this to the CEO, outgoing CEO. We have a case whereby our team manager was suspended for allegations of match fixing. Up to date, he has not been given a fair hearing since last season.
Please uliza swali lako haraka haraka manake
and we are in another season.
Unatupatia kisogo?
Yes. So inakuaje? Asante.
Uliza swali straight to the point, to the question, the candidate tukisonga. Asante.
Asante sana. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Masese Mokua. My questions are to Amimo. Amimo, sometimes in December 2022, Ligi Ndogo, your team was stranded in Arusha despite parents paying 50,000 for the same. The parents had to go and pick their kids from the border. Does that show your mismanagement with a small organization like Ligi Ndogo? Question number two, there is a time that there was a call-up to the junior teams, and the list was full of Ligi Ndogo and Akakoro only. So my question to you, when you want to be president, is this what you want to magnify now in bigger numbers because you will be president and in control? And does that occur to you as abuse of office? Thank you.
Kwa majina nitaongea kwa Kiswahili ndio watazamaji na wasikilizaji wenzetu walioko pembe zote za Kenya waweze kusikia. Swali langu ni kwa Mr. Barry. Kunayo ripoti ambayo iko kwa FIFA website na inasema kwamba between 2016 and 2022 wameweza kuwapatia 11.145 million dollars. So far mumeweza kutumia 7.9 million dollars. Tafadhali unaweza ukatuelezea, ukatupatia breakdown vile hizo hela zilitumika. Swala la pili kwa Mr. Barry. Kuna ile pesa 125 million za Obivan. Mpaka wa leo hiyo Obivan haijaweza kupatikana. Could you please tell the audience hizo pesa ziko wapi? Umeresign na umerudi unataka kuwa kiongozi wa FKF. How do we trust you? And yet when it comes to accountability, transparency and integrity, you have failed that test.
Asante. Swali yako tumepata. Sijui kama kuna waweze kujibu ama tuulize maswali yote maswali.
Naomba waweze kujibu kwanza alafu turudi kuuliza maswali.
So we can start with Barry.
Thank you. I think, Tony, before I go to the audience, you had adversely mentioned me. I start by responding to you.
No, you're responding to the debate.
Okay. So first is that I'm the only person who's resigned this position. Shimanyula is still the chair of Kakamega Homeboys. Amimo is still a NEC member. Sam is still an SG. Alila is still a businessman. And Kempes is still an aspirant. So I think I did the most honorable thing by resigning. Secondly is this. The data that I gave to the FKF Electoral Board is not my data. I was an employee of FKF under contract, and I received data from the branches. I gave this data to the board. This data was published as raw data. Disputes came in, cases were listened to, and it was updated as clean data that will govern the election. That is my question. So on to the issue of the money we received from FIFA. I think FIFA sends around $1.65 million, and depending on the rate, the exchange rate between the dollar and the Kenya shillings, then that figure is not, it fluctuates.
That is per year, per quarter?
Per year. But then this money is used for operations, so paying of salaries, electricity and stuff like this. And then there's money that is used for what you'd call football development, grassroots football development. That money has been used. The way that money has been used is on the FKF website. Now, there is something that the gentleman who asked the question didn't factor in. For a year, we were suspended. And when you're suspended, you do not get funding from FIFA. So we lost all our rights as a federation. I can refer this question now because I am not at liberty to speak on behalf of FKF. I can only say this as a former employee. But I can confidently say that the figures are on the FKF website, how these monies were used. And then maybe if he needs further clarification, he can contact FKF directly, or maybe Chris Amimo, being a board member, can answer. Secondly, is the issue of the OB van.
You have 30 seconds for that.
Yeah. Secondly, is the issue of the OB van. We did bad business, and I've learned from it. I was not CEO, but I was part of the team. We went out, bought an OB van, and immediately we paid for it. A company filed for bankruptcy. That case has been closed. Unfortunately, the federation is not able to recover any money from that transaction. I believe now, out of the 6, I am the only one who knows how not to buy an OB van, because I've experienced it. I'm really sorry that we...
Your 30 seconds are Barry. There was questions that directed to Amimo. Chapadali, you'd like to respond to it. About the very pertinent, was 30 seconds about Ligindogo, a kid stranded in Arusha. Then of course the other one about, yes, the list of the national team. And of course Ligindogo, allegedly, from what is said, being incorporated in those teams.
Okay, so I'd like to answer Masese. Masese, we all make mistakes. And I admit I made a mistake. And the kids got stranded. What is important is what you do after the mistake. And I went out of my way. And I explained to myself, to my clients. And they agreed with my explanation. That is why Ligindogo is still running with those kids and those parents today. Now, Ligindogo has been running for 22 years. In 1 year out of 22, I had a bad incident. It happens to the best of us. And that's what I can say about that. Now, on the issue of Ligindogo and Akakoro players, I cannot speak for Akakoro. But I would like you to name who are these Ligindogo players who were full in the team. Then I can respond to them. All right. Do you know them?
All right.
Thank you. I rest my case.
Thank you very much for that. Definitely, yes, as you do that, I've just done my mathematics about what Barry has told us. Every year, if we are getting money from FIFA, it's 221 million Kenya shillings converted.
Depending on the dollar.
So I've used 130 Kenya shillings against the dollar. So FKF gets 221 million Kenya shillings per year. To the next question.
So my question I have a few questions. So my first,
make them quick so that time is you.
Straight to the point. So my first question goes to Samu Chola. You mentioned on Talanta Hela, communication with the ministry and all that. I felt that you did not tell us in regard to the question that you were given on how you're going to handle grassroots football. So I would like you to take that question again and maybe with more clarity enlighten me. Also, my question goes to Alila. You spoke about constitutional review. So I was wondering if you could highlight what specific provisions of the Constitution inhibit football growth in the grassroots level. Why is the matter concerning the Constitution something that you find is very important to you? And my last question goes to
Please make it quick. Any other, please? We have less than 10 minutes to do this Q&A.
Okay, my last question goes to to Kempes, sorry. How practical is your point on accountability? Who are these people and how are we holding them accountable now that you're the one asking for this particular office? Thank you.
Pengine swali lingine moja Masawi, sababu masaa yanagonga mwamba. Tuko na less than 8 minutes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Charles Gasheru, Chairman Tusker FC. I just have a few comments. I think in terms of fact-checking, number one, all members of the FKF AGM receive accounts on email. So perhaps some of Gor Mahia needs to pay his provider of his email. But we receive our accounts. I have accounts since 2020. The contents of the account is another matter. We can discuss that. I would like to thank Radio Africa Group for doing this. And also like just to say to the country, FKF is not Nick. FKF is not Barry. We are FKF. I'm standing here as an FKF member. So we own FKF. It is not owned by Nick or by Barry. We own this association. And we know some people from counties, we don't know who those are. We own this association. And we are proud of it. This is the first time we are seeing a presidential debate, candidates together, a media group putting together a debate. Other federations actually need to copy FKF. FKF is probably right now the best federation in this country by a very long way. So I'm sorry, maybe I don't have a question for the candidates, but those were my comments.
Okay.
Two more. I'm sorry, we cannot have everyone ask questions. So we'll just have two more, then we wind up.
Very quickly.
Thank you. My name is Dan Shikanda, and I have not necessarily questions, but maybe I want to look forward. I think I've been in football the longest, and I'll put this to the presidential candidates. Where we go wrong, there is not enough money in football. And that's why this is a country of allegations. That's why people will put so much allegations that this amount of money came and it was not used right. And if you follow it, maybe even that amount of money did not come. I run a club where people assume I have 200 million and yet I have only 85 million with a budget of 150 million. My question is this: how are you going to get corporates and government investing in football? Because this is key. We have talent, but we are lacking liquid cash to run our football, number one. Number two, I want to know from the presidential candidates, what are your people's skills? Are we going to see what we are seeing now? A league match in Shabana, where both teams are there, the fans are in the stadium full, and then the referees are withdrawn at the 11th hour, and fans have paid. What people's skills do we have? Are we going to see a team in National Super League traveling all the way to Mombasa by the name of Dimba Patriots, ready to play tomorrow, and it is withdrawn from the league last minute? Kindly, we need a presidential candidate or president with better presidential.
Thank you.
Then lastly, I will confirm with what Barry and Amimo are saying. We actually get, before an AGM, we are given financial documents 30 days before the AGM. We are supposed to interrogate them. But our country, we have people where we only prepare for exams. When we have such things, we don't go through those documents. And at the end of the day, we cannot answer the questions when we go to the floor.
Let's allow our candidates just to respond. Let's allow our candidates to respond to that. Sio watu kubalisha sababu ya masaa inatukimbia kidogo. Wacha tuwaruhusu waweze ku.
Yeah, we can start with the Sam for the Talanta Hela, then we move on to Alila, then Kempes. We keep it short due to time. We can start with Alila, yeah.
One of the, I think the spectators asked me about the Constitution. The Constitution, as I said, that if I'm elected in the first 100 days, we need to change that FKF Constitution to accommodate what I said, other members of association. Like now, for example, the girls who went under 17 that went to the World Cup, 90% of them are coming from schools, secondary schools. And I think Barry can confirm that. We need to vary that constitution so that schools can be members of FKF. As it stands now, the federation just go and ask, like, oh, you've seen the secondary schools games, the way they are run and managed. Even the under-20, which is playing in Tanzania, I think for the CECAFA championship, under-20, most of them are coming from schools. So it is my idea and also my goal to have these secondary schools and primary schools associations be members of FKF, and to do that, you must amend the constitution. Even the county, as we, just 2 minutes, as we go on these county associations, even though they are not members of FKF, but the clubs need to be accommodated by FKF on their individual basis, because the rule says that they must be members, the clubs must be members of the association, not CFA. But there's also another paradox of the CFA issue. The letter that you read, as specified, it is from the sports registrar, and it's something that has to be looked into as a caution, because they say that we'll go with these elections, but they are saying that out of these branch elections that we are going to have, the sports register has registered 47 members in this Sports Act issue. So if you do elections and then they are out, it will be an issue. That's why I was saying that I was running under protest, and we have an active case to deal with this issue decisively, because Sports Act is embedded in the Constitution, and it's much more superior than FKF Constitution. So those are the things that we need to look at as we go for this election. Is a present and clear danger that we'll have elections, yet the register has already written that we are already having 47 registers according to the Sports Act. That's why it is my opinion to have this FKF Constitution and Sports Act synchronized so that they can be speaking from both sides. You know, this hand must know what the other hand says.
Thank you very much, Tom Alila. Of course, I know several other questions have been asked. We shall give a chance, of course, to Samuel Chola to respond to the Talatawa Ela. Alila has responded, of course, to the Constitution Review. Toto about accountability. And then, of course, Dan Shikanda, of course, talked about how corporates can be and governments can be allowed, or attracted, made to, of course, take football seriously and invest in football. We shall, of course, engage that in the next few minutes. But at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, remember this is the inaugural, the only, the one 2024 Football Kenya Federation Presidential Debate right here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. It is being live on TV 47 and Radio Jambo and across all our social media platforms. And at this juncture, we are switching this particular broadcast to our social media platform. That is on Facebook, on YouTube, on X.
Also next for Radio Jambo.
And also on Radio Jambo X. That's, of course, where we are switching off. And, of course, for TV47 right now, I'll be handing over to my colleague, Betty Chalo, who is, of course, ready with this her show this particular evening. Thank you. So, of course, we move on.
Yeah, we move on. So next up was Mr. Sam.
Thank you very much. To the lady who asked me the questions about Talanta Hela and grassroots football, it's almost one and the same thing. I talked about academies that are out there. I'll even mention Amimo's Ligindogo here. There was Mofa. Very successful in doing this. Teams from and the under-20 men's team who have qualified.
We asked the children, how many of you brushed this morning? And this little boy, his hand didn't go up. And I said, well, why didn't you brush this morning? He said, my brother was using the toothbrush. If I'd waited for him, I would have been late for school. I'm sorry, I get a bit emotional when it comes to that. To be able to change a child's life, to be able to bring back that confidence about their smile, for me, is phenomenal.
Need quick cash? We've got you covered. Securing loans has never been easier. Introducing Baze. You can access instant mobile loans, logbook, car financing within 8 hours, salary advance, and buy now, pay later partnerships, all at low interest rates. Download the Baze app or dial *218*88# for instant mobile loans. Call 0759808086 for logbook and car financing. For more information, visit www.baze.co.ke. Baze Instant Affordable Loans. Baze is licensed by the CBK.
Virahisi uko na nafasi 3 ya kuwa milionea kila awa. Usipitwe, cheza Daka, ushike mita yako sasa. Chagua nambari zako 4 za bahati and win up to 10 million every 20 minutes. Nenda kwenye paybill 440440. Account Daka. Amount cheza na shilingi 20 hadi shilingi 2000 na ushinde mamilioni. Daka Mita, kuwa bingwa.
Twende kazi DJ.
Nachoshasikia kikingia ni kublast. Kukwanga bado na chuk. Nachoshasikia.
Get ready to party. It's about to be lit, it's about to be legit. It's about to be fire because the Saturday Gang has officially landed.
Nachoshasikia kikingia ni kublast. Kukwanga bado na chukliwa madam. So anguka nao itabaki mefilo na vibe. Anguka nao koko single for now. Back him down. Anguka nao check it. Anguka nao twende down low now. Stand up to your feet, mikono juu alafu click. Tuliza pesa alafu one leg. Anguka nao.
Way of doing that, and that's an issue. And then somebody asked me about, accountability. Accountability is something that starts from the top leadership. If the leadership at the top does not hold people to account, then there's going to be a problem. So for me as a leader, accountability starts with me. And then the last thing is about how do we bring money to football? I think Shikanda asked that question. You have to make the federation marketable. You have to make our leagues marketable. People give money when they think there's value in what they get back. And so when you have, right now the federation, our leagues are not marketable. And it's difficult for corporate world to associate with something that's not attractive. That's our problem. And so if we bring structure, if we bring good governance, if we do all those things, we're going to create a league and a federation that is marketable, and we're going to be able to attract investors. And until and unless we do that, we're just going to have problems.
Thank you very much, Sami Kempes, for that insight. We have, of course, less than about 10 minutes just to wind up everything to wrap up. Unless we've...
Can I... Yeah, Barry and also Shimanyula and Chris will answer the question about cash flow into football and corporate.
Yeah, I'll just try to be very quick. The Bible says that you shall know them by their fruits. And Kempes has kept on mentioning people who work at the federation. But he's not talking about his record. I mean, he left the country before I was born. I'm 41 today. I would like to know how many kids, Kenyan kids, play in his academy. I would like to know what he did for Gor Mahia, and I'm sitting with the Gor Mahia SG. I would like to know what he did for Kotbiro, which is played in an estate where he comes from. So let us not point the finger at other people, yet we haven't done anything ourselves. Very quickly to Shikanda's point, I think, as I said, companies are not charity organizations.
And it's not that our league is not marketable. We need to build a football brand, not market. Market is shouting, come, come, come to the field.
Anyway, you can change their minds. I think
Participation of coaches
at different
things are
levels.
okay,
But it's not.
within the
The other thing is the ZAM deal. The ZAM deal is an example where there was lack of accountability. If you talk to a lot of clubs, they will tell you that there's a lot of about the deal that they did not know, and when they asked.
Move to campus, 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, let me respond.
1 minute.
Barry, you are the CEO of the federation. You know as well as anybody that FIFA has rules in regards to youth players going outside the country. You know that, right? You know that you have to be 18 years old. You know that, don't you? Yes, you have to be. Number one, my academy is a youth academy. 2 issues. Number one.
First, let us check facts. It is not true that you need to be over 18 to go to any academy. Amimo here has sent kids who are below 18. So that is not true.
Let me put it this way.
And I'm also not the CEO, I resigned.
Let campus respond.
Okay, let me respond to that. Number one.
1 minute, is that
ACES is a youth academy. ACES is a youth academy. So I challenge you, Barry, to go to the U.S. Embassy today and ask for a visa and tell them you're going to a youth academy at AC Soccer Club. See if you get it. Number two, there are rules that govern FIFA that have to do with players going to academies. Africans used to go to academies in Europe, and what happened was they were manipulated, and so FIFA put in place rules. So there's 2 reasons why it's hard to bring somebody to my academy. Number one, it's just not FIFA, regarding FIFA rules, that's one. Number two, because we don't have like a senior professional team, it's just an academy. Number two, there's going to be issues of visa if you want to go there. Then in regards to
Sami, thank you.
He asked me, can I just answer the questions I want to
30
ask?
seconds then, because of time.
I will appreciate it if I can just answer the questions. Because there are allegations and you're giving everybody a chance to answer. I will appreciate if I can get the answer.
If you make it short, thank you.
Yeah. So the other thing is Kotbiro. I've given Kotbiro money. By the way, I started helping Kenya football a long time ago. I did not make any deal because I don't like making big deals out of helping people. You can see pictures of people that I started helping way, way before you were born. Okay? And then as far as Gor Mahia is concerned, my decision to help Kenya, I've helped Gor Mahia, by the way, a couple of times, but my decision to help Kenya was specifically made in relationship to youth soccer, which is my passion, and I've helped a lot of academies in Kenya here.
Thank you very much, Sami, for that. Toto, briefly, of course, to respond to about what you've been asked.
About corporates and how you can...
How you attract government.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Mimi nitasema kwamba nikichaguliwa kuwa rais nitaweza kuvutia wale sponsors wengi, kwa sababu nimesema kwamba nataka hii ligi taniyo tofauti na hao jamaa walikuwa wanafanya. Nataka tuwe na Kenya Premier League ikuwe kivyake, National Super League ikuwe kivyake, Women League ikuwe kivyake, na tuhakikishe tumewapatia nguvu. Na kitu nitafanya lazima sitakuwa mtu akuuliza 70% ndio sponsor akuje. Mimi itakuwa hata sponsor afadhali akuje free so that watu wetu wafanye nini? Waamuke. Because unaona kama hii ofisi ya Bari imekuwa na vituko mingi sana. Mimi nashangaa hata nimeona ndugu yangu wa FC anasema yeye alipatiwa hiyo booklet. Next time ndugu yangu wa FC ukipewa hii kitabu make sure wanakupatia pia statement ya bank kuonesha ile pesa iliingia na ni ngapi imetumika na ni ngapi imebaki, kwa sababu labda hii statement zinapewa timu za Nairobi because mimi sijaona. So sometimes kwa vitu ya accounts sio kama hiyo mambo ya doctor leo daktari, lazima accounts unaangalia, unawaambia sawa umetupatia kitabu, tupatie vile pesa iliingia ni ngapi, imetumika ngapi, because if you tutasema kwamba tunazidi kusupport hawa jamaa na bado nasema mimi nikichaguliwa kuwa president Kenyans wataona difference kubwa because nimekuwa kwa management ya pesa, nimejua kudeal na corporates, najua pia kuangalia mpangilio vile mambo itakuwa.
Asante Toto. Tukimwelekea hapo kwenye Chris Amimo, umewasikia kwamba how we supposed to attract government and corporates. And of course, uliulizwa kuna swali pia iliulizwa ndani shikana kuhusiana na people skills. And then of course, singled out a case in Shabana when they were playing and referees disappeared during a very crucial game. And of course, for the questions, briefly.
Okay, so let me tell you a story. In 2009 to 2012, I brought Safaricom into football. The gentleman on my far right is the one who killed that project, Mr. Alila. Now,
am I allowed to respond?
That is one. No, Alila, you'll be back. Let me finish. You'll be back. Give me my minute. Now, one of the things that made me run for office was that, because I was telling myself, who are these guys we have in the federation who cannot see such an opportunity? And as soon as I got into office in 2016, in 2017, Safaricom was back into football. Other than betting companies, I think Safaricom is the only other corporate that is in football. I believe if I'm in charge, I can use my networks in the corporate world to bring much more and other companies on board to support our football.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Please don't allow Alila to rebut. I think he doesn't have time.
Yeah. I'll give Alila 30 seconds to respond to that.
I think Amemo is not being truthful. That's why I've been saying that if you are an administrator in FKF administrator, you are not supposed to have side businesses to do. You need to use your skills in the FKF regulations so that you don't have side business, that you're running Liginogo, you're also running Chapadimba. These things need to be regularized and be done in a proper manner. So when he brought the idea, it was self-befitting. So those issues were not going to help anybody at the grassroots. So when he says if he is running an academy, and he has said and he has confessed Ligidogo, so the people who get first preference are those people of theirs of Ligidogo. Okay. So as a president of FKF, you need to be impartial. You need to treat even selections of Harambee Stars, even looking for the coach. It's just full of chronism. I think Barry should be able to answer that. Harambee Stars must have a national outlook. That a player from Pokot or one which is coming from all the way in Korea must play in the national team. So those are the issues that if elected, I'm going to streamline. I'm the best person to run the federation independently.
Thank you, Tom Alila.
Am I allowed 30 seconds, please?
30 seconds.
Yes.
30
so
indeed.
When I was doing Sakata Ball, I was not in the federation, and I was running it as a private entity. When I came to the federation, Chapadimba is run by FKF. Barry is over here, he can attest. It is not run by me. It is run by FKF. Now, Alila, do you know the CAF president, Mr. Mosepe? You know he owns a football club in South Africa?
Yes, he owns a football club in Africa, but he decided to leave it. He decided to put it aside because now he's the president of CAF. But you cannot have interests that even the way my friend Simanula said, he's gone through the pain for running a club. But we must be independent. As an FKF president, you need not to have side business.
But Alila, I don't run
Ligindogo. Chris, you have 30 seconds, Chris. I don't know if you shared it with Tom. But thank you very much for that, Chris, for sharing that. This debate, of course, I know we can have this conversation going on and on. But of course, from the feedback we are receiving, this is just the first part of many debates that we shall be having. At this juncture, of course, we shall be giving each candidate about 2 minutes or less to share with us their last word, the word that will stick with you and I in terms of what they will bring to the Kenyan football. Of course, we start with candidate number 1, who will give us and tell us in 2 minutes, not more than that, is the only thing that we can carry from this hall. Tom Alila, 2 minutes. Beautiful.
Yeah, first of all, it was very wrong for the people who are also running. I think the ones who are doing Putin, Mwendo and Doris, not to have come here. I think that was not right. But as we go on, I think their surrogates are here running for president. So as we go on, football needs integrity. We need to go to the grassroots levels, as I've said. It has to be implemented, and I will implement it. The secondary and primary school association is really big. That's where the talents are nurtured. When you have 7 years at golden age, the way I've said, that is where the engine is that will be feeding our national teams, starting from the lower leagues up to the top tier league. And also our branch chairman should also be given, I will give them responsibility to manage these leagues at the lower level, let's say NSL going downwards. They must have, they should not be just, as we look for their votes, they need to have activities to help grow football in 47 counties by partnering with the governors. They must have an office. I'll make sure that there's an office with an executive officer to help them run grassroots football and also make the integrity of soccer, which people love, alive in this country. This country is full of talent, and they are there, and we should be able to produce and put them to the shelf, and then they can be self-employed using football. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tom Alila. To Akanda Brown Samachola, please. 2 minutes or less.
Thank you very much. As I sit here today, I've listened to a lot of comments and rebuffs from people who have been in the federation. Tuko nao hawa wawili hapa na kuna moja mwenye walikataa kukuja. There's the lady. I wish she was here so that we could ask her very hard questions. But the reason why we want to take this seat is because nataka kusema sisi tumesoma administration. Mimi niko na degree kutoka master's degree kutoka USIU na niko na degree ya kawaida marketing kutoka Daystar. I think I'm the best person. Tukikaa kwa hii meza yote umesikia vile watu wanazungumza either ni Kizungu ama Kiswahili, lakini mimi nazipiga zote mbili. So hata nikienda mali kama CAF ama FIFA, I can articulate myself very clearly in English. And when I come to, and I go to Mombasa, naweza kuwa na conference na tunazungumza Kiswahili yenye watu watafahamu. Kitu nyingine tunataka kuwa na leaders. Hii leadership ya federation is not about the billions you have. This thing is about, are you able to run football transparently? Are you able to talk to the people, the chair people across the country? Are you able to fund them? Mimi nataka kuambia ma branches zote mutapata pesa zenu. Mimi nataka kuwapea 3 million shillings per branch. Na uwezi kutuambia unaweza kufund federation na pesa yako. Kama kwenda tu Egypt, Homeboys ilishindwa kupeleka full team. At least sisi Gor Mahia tunaweza kupeleka full team. If you cannot come and say you can fund the federation and you know very well you cannot do it. Let us be truthful. This is where we know when somebody is lying or when he's saying the truth and all that. We need sponsorship, and those sponsorships are available. Tunajua ziko. Lakini hawa watu wa federation wa saizi hawezi kuwa hiyo sponsorship because these corporate companies zinajua hiyo pesa italambwa.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana.
Asante sana Samachola. Barry Otieno.
Thank you, Tony. I have 2 minutes.
Less than.
I want to share my 1 minute. I have a question for Chairman Shimanyula.
Sasa tunafanya closing statements.
Najua ni closing as part of my 2 minutes. Something very... So, Chairman, tumekuwa tukiongea mimi na wewe kuhusu issue ya match fixing. Nataka kujua tu briefly, juu sijapata chance ya kuuliza mtu swali. Wewe unaona vipi kama kuna mtu ule anaweza kuwa kuna shida ya gambling na betting, anashinda kwa casino? Do you think huyo mtu anafaa kuwa karibu na mpira?
Swali yako Bari ni mzuri sana na najua ananirifaa kwa Hussein.
Sijasema hivyo.
Yes, because Hussein ndiye anakuwa kwa vitu ya betting na gambling. So nafikiri ungeambia wa Kenya kwamba Hussein atakiwa achaguliwe kwa sababu ni mtu ya gambling. Si ndivyo?
Time is ticking. You've less than 30 seconds, Barry.
Thank you. So mine is very clear and very short. To the FKF delegates, you know me. I've worked with you and for you for 5 years. You know what I stand for. You know my values. You know my morals. I'm asking that you walk this journey with me and that we elect an office that will empower the branches, will involve clubs more in the management of the leagues, will capacity build beyond the pitch,
and will create a clear pathway for our youths to turn professional. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Kempes, make it short as well. Thank you.
Yeah, for me, football has been very good to me. It's, you know, it gave me a lot of opportunities. It took me from where I was and allowed me to go and get my education. So football is a serious business for me. So I came here to this country because I feel like I have the prerequisite skills that are needed to help football here. What we need is somebody who has the vision that's needed to be able to build football to where it needs to be. We need to have good governance. We need to have structures in our football. We need to build our football from the grassroots so that everything we do starts from the grassroots all the way to the top. But we need to have people who also love the game and who care for the game. And that's really important because, you know, if you love the game and care for the game, some of the things that most of the things you're gonna do, if not all of them, are gonna be to build football. So I feel like football in this country has tremendous opportunity, and with the right person at the top, we can get it there. And I feel like I'm that person.
Thank you very much, Sami Kempes Owino. Toto.
Asante sana. Kwanza nitaanza na kumjibu Ochola. Amesema kwamba Homeboys walishindwa kwenda ng'ambo. Nitakwambia kwamba si kufanya harambee yoyote, na tulihakikisha tumeenda ng'ambo tukarepresent. Hatukupigwa mabao mingi vile nyinyi mlipigwa na Gor Mahia. Tulihakikisha tumerepresent vizuri na tukarudi. Haya, mimi kwangu nasema I'm the best candidate kwa hao watu nimeona wote wa masuti hapa, kwamba nimewaangalia vizuri, hawa wanitoshi. Kwa hivyo naomba wale delegates wote watakuwa hapa. Mimi ndo nitarudisha Premier League, nitahakikisha nimekalia pesa yenu vizuri na tupange vizuri. Na Bari unaweza leta CV yako because I can just look for a good job in the county government or even ndaweza kuangalia kazi kwa sababu hii kazi wewe.
Asante sana.
Because nilisema hivyo, tumesema kwamba wale watu wote wamework na Mwendwa, tafadhali wasikanyage katika hiyo ofisi. It's better uninyime mimi upatie Kempes. It's better uninyime mimi upatie Ochola.
Asante.
But kwa hiyo machache nawaomba kwamba wale wote wa Kenya wako hapa, I'm the best person kuhakikisha you have got the best team to work for Kenyans.
Thank you very much, Shimanyula. Chris Amimo, your last word. We are running out of time.
For 22 years, I've served the beautiful game. From promoting youth football, running grassroots events, to serving on the board of FKF. Over this period, I've gained invaluable insights and knowledge about the game. This is what I want to use to run the federation. I have the requisite education and the right corporate networks to make this happen. But more importantly, I have the skills and the passion to take our football to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chris Amimo, Cleophas Toto Shimanyula, Sami Kempes Owino, Barry Otieno, Sam Ochola, and of course Tom Alila. Thank you very much indeed for gracing this inaugural, the very first one, the Football Kenya Federation Presidential Debate. And of course, thank you to our audience, our stakeholders, as of course, just the way Charles Gesheru said, we are the FKF. Thank you very much indeed for audience for making time. And of course, for our viewer, wherever you are on our social media platforms, asante sana for making time indeed for this particular debate. It's just one of the very many debates.
Yeah, and for sure, we need more time to discuss more things. So definitely jaribu kuorganize ingine.
That's true. That's of course why we wind up this particular inaugural 2024 FKF presidential debate here at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa in Karen. We appreciate. Thank you for watching. God bless and take care. Bye for now.